Well, let's just get right to it. It's all about the time I met Audrey Hepburn.
Ooh. Okay.
Not many people can say that, right? Okay, so it was back in 1990, and I was married to a very nice journalist back then who happened to work at a current affair on Channel 9. And I knew that Audrey Hepburn was coming out in her UNICEF capacity, this was 1990, and she was going to be doing an interview with Jana Wendt. But of course, her program was very, very busy. She had hundreds of interviews to do, so she couldn't go to Channel 9. Channel 9 had to go to her. Now, this was quite unusual back in 1990, not like you and I now having a bit of a chat from wherever. It was quite a palaver. So on that day, I was sound asleep in my bed. I get a ring, 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 ring. And Eric says, Mez, we need another researcher. We need a minder to look after Audrey during the interview while it's being set up with Jana remotely. And I went, oh, he said, of course I thought of you. We're shy a researcher today. So for those who don't know, a minder is like a junior researcher or a gopher, if you will. And the people he worked with knew me, so they knew I could put, not make a fool of myself. But of course I was left with 90 minutes to get ready, get out of bed, get hair and makeup done, get a taxi to town and be at the Wentworth Hotel, as it was called then, along with thousands of journalists who were all there. And Audrey was there on stage and they're all click, 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 flash, flash, flash. And she was so beautiful. She was poised. She was elegant. She was stunning. Of course, I'd fretted for hours what to wear. Well, I didn't have hours. What to wear. But I had the perfect outfit. I'd done a coffee commercial a few weeks before. And given that it was 1990, fashion wasn't great in 1990, but I had this really nice mustard dress, quite fitted with a black trim. And I felt kind of tailored. And I thought, yeah, that'll do. So I was well turned out. And there was Audrey, far away on the stage, just poised, talking about the world's poor, specifically children. Many people know that she was the UNICEF ambassador for a number of years close to her death. And by this stage, she was 60. And the real reason that she wanted to be a UNICEF ambassador was because she herself was starved and deprived during World War II. Her father famously left off to hang out with the Nazis, leaving her aristocratic Dutch mother and her stranded on holidays in Amsterdam, and then all the borders closed. So she was really starved during World War II, and it had a lifelong effect on her. Part of that effect was she was always skinny, but she also had an empathy with anyone who was hungry in the world. So UNICEF was a natural fit. Anywho, she finishes the big press conference, and then the publicist hands Audrey over to me. And of course, well, I didn't touch her or anything. It wasn't quite like that. But I was introduced and I said, hello, Miss Hepburn. I'm going to be taking you upstairs to the Channel 9 studio that they've set up in one of the other hotel rooms. Yes, that's very nice. Thank you, Meredith. And we walked towards the lift. So we got into the lift and she looked a little bit tense, a little bit like she didn't really know me and a bit unsure about what was going on. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw a tall, dark figure. And then a great big hairy paw went into the back of her hand. Without her even turning, she visibly relaxed. And she just looked at peace. And that was the big hairy paw of her partner of many years by that stage, 10 years they'd already been together, Robert Walders, who would stay with her till her death a few years later of colon cancer. And so once she'd kind of ascertained he was in the lift too, she just chilled out, relaxed, was all pretty cool. And then he got off, presumably on their floor of the hotel or whatever, and went, and I took her up for the interview. It was hysterical. We stepped out of the interview and the first thing she said was, I'm starving, are there any sandwiches? And I was like, yes, we have sandwiches and we have tea and we have coffee. It's all laid out for you. And she said, oh, great. And where's the ladies' room? So there I am taking Audrey Hepburn to the ladies' room, which was semi-private down a hallway. And I'm waiting outside, not listening, of course, thinking, oh my God, I'm outside the ladies' room and Audrey's inside. And she came out and I led her to the sandwiches, handed her a plate and a serviette. Of course, I wasn't going to choose her food. She knew what she wanted to eat. And then we waited for the sound engineer to be set up, the soundy and the cameraman, and then Jana's face came up. And then they did the interview and it was lovely. And you did feel like they were talking one-on-one, which was, the ruse. And then after it was over, I was just standing at the back of the room, and then I had to thank Miss Hepburn and hand her back to the publicist. But she was so beautiful, and she was so serene. At 60, she had just a few fine lines on her face, completely natural, beautiful cream Chanel suit, little tan pumps. I did notice that her feet did look big. All her life, she thought, my feet are too big, even though they were size 7.5. But because they were so skinny, they did look quite big. But the thing I really remember about that is that relationship that just made her relax, feel comforted, protected. He was a big, tall, handsome man. He was an actor, a Dutch actor in TV shows, not widely well known, but they stayed together and he was with her at her death. And I thought to myself, I think everyone deserves a relationship like that, to be wrapped in that kind of love and comfort and just know that that person's looking out for you for the rest of your life. I wish everyone out there that. I wish it for me. So if there's a Robert Walters out there, hi. You can be hairy or not hairy. I don't care. And that's my Audrey story.